Welcome to the Titan Tar channel. Today we have a topic to discuss about Ukraine's bold actions moving Kursk to the new epicenter of the conflict with Russia. Don't miss the chance to join us and share your opinions with us. Become a member of our channel and evolve your rank. The Kiev government has been stepping up its attacks on Russian territory, and one of the largest drone attacks in recent times was repelled by Russian air defense. Reports indicate that Ukrainians attacked 8 regions of Russia, using not only drones but also tactical missiles. In response, Russian air defense managed to shoot down a total of 4 missiles and 117 drones. The main targets were the Kursk and Voronezh regions, where 37 drones were shot down in each, in addition to 4 missiles in the former. Belgorod, on the other hand, was less affected, with 17 drones intercepted. In addition to these strikes, 11 drones hit the Nizhny Novgorod region, where, according to Ukrainian sources, the target was an airbase of the Russian aerospace forces, from which MiG-31 fighters equipped with Kinzhal's missiles take off. Although there is no information yet about the damage, several other nearby regions were also attacked. This is the second tactical missile strike in the Kursk region in a few days, suggesting that Kiev still has reserves of such weapons. The attacks appear to have been planned with the advanced support of the United States and the European Union, which have reportedly given their blessing for an invasion of Russian territory. Sources indicate that Kiev considered several regions before opting for the Kursk region as the invasion point. According to one publication, this is the first invasion of Russian territory since World War II, and the plan had been in the works for some time. A Western official familiar with the planning said Ukraine was weighing different attack options before crossing the border last week. According to some Ukrainian sources, President Zelensky had presented the Russian invasion plan to Washington for approval at a NATO summit in early July, where he received final U.S. approval for the operation. However, the U.S. State Department denied any U.S. involvement in the invasion, while the head of European diplomacy expressed full support for Ukraine's actions. In light of this, Russia called a meeting of the UN Security Council to discuss the situation in the Kursk region. However, the U.S. and Japanese delegations refused to discuss the Ukrainian invasion and the war crimes attributed to the Ukrainian armed forces, reinforcing the perception that the so-called collective West is behind the Ukrainian attacks. Commenting on the invasion of the Kursk region, the deputy permanent representative of the Russian Federation to the UN stated that the Russian president's previous proposals for negotiations on Ukraine have lost their relevance. According to him, Russia was waiting for a response to its proposals, but the recent invasion was the response given by Ukraine and its foreign allies, signaling a clear military escalation. The Russian deputy representative added that the enemy intended to cause discord within Russia with the attack on the Kursk region, but the effect was the opposite. Russian society was united even more. He also stated that the attack resulted in the inevitability of Ukrainian capitulation, rendering any previous negotiation initiative ineffective. Meanwhile, the situation in the Pokrovskoye direction is worsening for the Ukrainian armed forces, which do not have enough reserves to contain the advance of Russian troops. The Ukrainian commander-in-chief has ordered the preparation of Pokrovsk for defense, as reported by sources close to the Ukrainian general staff. Reserves that were being prepared for deployment in Donbass have been redirected to the Kursk region, and other forces are being withdrawn from the front to reinforce this area. In Kiev, it was decided to expand the bridgehead in the Kursk region and hold it, while the situation in Pokrovsk, where the Ukrainian defense continues to fail, remains critical. The city of Pokrovsk has been proposed as a defense base, turning it into another strategic fortification. The Ukrainian General Staff plans to have Russian troops reach Pokrovsk in early September, with the aim of prolonging the fighting in the area by taking advantage of the adverse weather conditions. Rains are expected to make roads impassable, completely halting the Russian advance. However, the Ukrainian armed forces are facing a shortage of reserves to stabilize the Eastern Front, leading to the decision to focus all resources on the Kursk operation. According to one intelligence channel, the Ukrainian commander has ordered Pokrovsk to be prepared for defense, with the start of fighting for the city scheduled for September, in the hope of halting the Russian advance. Still, doubts remain about the Ukrainian General Staff's ability to hold its positions in the Kursk region, as Russian troops are unlikely to allow the construction of strong defense lines. In addition, the lack of strategic cities to rely on, except for Sudza, complicates the situation for the Ukrainians. After the transfer of combat-ready reserves, the Russian army managed to completely halt the advance of Ukrainian forces that crossed the border into the Kursk region. Now, Russia is engaged in the systematic and large-scale destruction of enemy forces, including armored vehicles, weapons, and air defense systems, both in the Kursk region and on the approaches to the neighboring Sumy region. Units of the northern group of forces, reinforced by reserves deployed to the region, continue operations to repel the Ukrainian invasion of Russian territory. According to a statement from the Defense Ministry, Russian troops continue to hold back attempts by mobile groups of the Ukrainian armed forces to penetrate Russian territory. Intense battles took place in several locations, with strong support from Russian aviation, preventing any significant advance by Ukrainian forces. An attempt by the Ukrainian 82nd Airborne Brigade to advance was also repelled, forcing the Ukrainians to retreat, with substantial losses in equipment and personnel. Meanwhile, Ukrainians are concentrating forces and assets in areas attacked by Russian artillery and aircraft. Russian aviation has been operating intensively in the Sumy region, supported by artillery and missiles, and although the losses of the Ukrainian armed forces in Sumy are not as great as in Kursk, fighting continues in both territories. In the midst of this offensive, Zelensky referred to the tragedy of the Kursk nuclear submarine when acknowledging the invasion, suggesting a possible connection between the attack on the Kursk region and the visit of American senators to Kiev, raising suspicions about the involvement of the United States in both events. The Ukrainian command, in turn, does not hide its strategy, inspired by the Fabian tactics/strategy, which consists of avoiding large direct battles and, instead, carrying out small dispersed attacks, trying to divert the enemy's attention from the main fronts. This strategy, which dates back to the Punic Wars and was used by the Roman commander Fabio Maximo, aims to gradually wear down the opponent. However, as Western instructors pressure the Ukrainian commander to adopt this approach in the Kursk region, Russia responds with countertactics that could eventually culminate in a decisive offensive in the chosen direction, as history has demonstrated on other occasions. Despite Ukrainian efforts to disperse Russian forces with small attacks, Russia maintains a coordinated counterattack posture. Many historical examples show that Fabian strategies can lead to the loss of territories and the reorganization of states within tighter borders. In this context, Zelensky's decision to launch an offensive in the Kursk region is seen as one of the riskiest since the start of hostilities in Ukraine, as stated by a British expert in an article published in an American newspaper. According to this expert, Zelensky spent months trying to convince his military leaders of the need for an offensive, despite Ukraine's lack of personnel and resources. The Ukrainian invasion of the Kursk region, therefore, took both the Russian authorities and Western allies by surprise. The author of the article suggests that the West would have disapproved of the attack on Russia's border regions if Kiev had consulted their opinions, insinuating that the Kiev regime made this decision independently, without previously notifying the American and European leadership of its plans. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like the video, and share it with your friends. Your interactions mean a lot to us and help us grow. See you next time.